What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. In this one, we're looking at the best captaincy options for Game Week 7. I wouldn't say there's a standout this week, but there's quite a few very good options that we can choose from. So we're going to go through why you may or may not want to go for them, whether you should be worried about not owning certain players, and stuff like that. So if you enjoy it, give it a like, hit that subscribe button if you're new around here, and let's jump into it. So these, I would say, are the three probably most popular captains that we're going to be looking at this week. Last week, it was kind of Antonio, Ronaldo, and Salah. This week, Salah's probably going to drop out a little bit. We're going to talk about him in a minute. And it's going to be Lukaku instead. Obviously, Lukaku's got Southampton at home, Ronaldo's Southampton at home, and Antonio's Brentford at home as well. So we can't even kind of differentiate between them because of home or away matches. I'm just going to get it out there straight away because it's all well and good me saying if you've got Ronaldo, don't panic, just captain him. If you've got Lukaku, don't panic, just captain him. If you've got both, that's what people want to know the answer to. I think right now, I'd probably slightly side towards Lukaku, but it is such a small difference. I'm not particularly worried that I don't own him. Like, I've got Ronaldo, Antonio, and Jimenez right now without wildcard, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I've seen kind of a few Chelsea fans and stuff talking on Twitter about how they just haven't been great recently. They've not been getting too much service to Lukaku. They haven't scored too many goals. I'm not a Chelsea fan. I haven't watched all of those games like in Europe and stuff like that. But when I look at the fixtures, you've got matches in the league against Man City, Villa, Spurs and Liverpool. So not that easy. And they did put 3 past Spurs anyway. And then the other 2 were like European games, Zenit and Juventus, right? So it's not like they're super easy. It's not like Champions League games are easy just to go and score 3-4 goals necessarily. I know Liverpool obviously did that recently as well. So I think they're tough games. Southampton is not going to be as tough a task as most of those games they've played. And I think watching their game last week, that Southampton game, they did struggle a little bit with Jimenez at times. I wouldn't say that Southampton were massively kind of under pressure, but at times Jimenez did do really well against their centre-backs, and Lukaku can definitely do that kind of job as well. It's just whether or not they can get enough service to him. I just don't think it's going to be a massive issue against Southampton. I don't see why they couldn't score 2 or 3 goals. So if we're talking about the best captain this week, it probably is Lukaku, but all the other options are very close behind, right? So Ronaldo, people are starting to worry about Ronaldo. I'm trying to think how many times he's blanked so far for Man United. He scored in both Champions League games, and I think he's blanked once in the league. Something like that. So he's doing okay, despite people worrying about him. I think one of the main problems with Man United probably is it almost feels like a bit like last season and the season before and the season before. They've got the players there to go on the attack and score plenty of goals, but sometimes you just don't know what Man United team is going to turn up. And it can be that one that just doesn't really seem to create many chances, has a lot on the ball, but doesn't do anything with it. But I think against Everton, it's not an easy game by any means, but I don't think it's that bad either. And I do think Ronaldo probably is right up there with Lukaku, like just slightly just behind him. And Everton have done quite well in defence so far this season, but I don't think they've been properly tested yet. Leeds was probably their toughest game, and they conceded 2 goals. They also conceded 3 goals to Villa recently as well. And they were missing some players, right? So you've got to give them some credit for that, right? It might have been a bit more difficult than normal. But I think Man United at home should cause them some problems. I know they didn't against Villa. I completely get that. But I do think Ronaldo is a really good captain option this week. Obviously, we now know that he doesn't necessarily have penalties. It was said by Bruno Fernandes that Solskjaer would choose before the game. My thinking is, if Fernandes were going to take one in the last game anyway, I don't see why you then suddenly change it to Ronaldo. So there's a very big chance Fernandes has them, which does dampen the appeal of Ronaldo a little bit. But his chances, like you see that 0.9 expected goals per 90, yes, that will probably come down a bit over the next few games, but it's still great. He's still having a lot of shots. He's still a great captain this week. So I'd have Lukaku just above Ronaldo, but not by far. And then we've got to talk about Antonio as well. I'm sure after last week, there's a lot of people going for him. He goes to Leeds away. He scores again. He's been super consistent. He played midweek, but he did come off quite early, around the 60-ish minute. So I don't think there's any issues there. I think this could actually play into West Ham's hands because Brentford are the team, so far anyway, right? We talk about how they're quite a good defence. They just conceded 3 to Liverpool. Bearing in mind, they also scored 3 as well. So they did well in that game, to be fair. But they are a team that's going to come out and play. And I think players like Antonio and Bowen and maybe Fornals to a certain extent and Benrahma, that's quite a good team on the counter. Like, we've seen West Ham do pretty well on the counter attack before. So I'm not saying they won't have a lot of the ball, but Brentford are not just going to sit back, I don't think. So I think this could be a good game for Antonio. I still put Lukaku and Ronaldo ahead of him, just like I did last week, or Ronaldo and Salah last week. And it doesn't always work out, but you keep making the best decisions, and eventually over the season they should equal out. So I think Antonio's fine. But if you think to yourselves, are you one of those people that's been saying, well, Brentford defence has actually been all right? And if you think that, how much damage can Antonio do? Quite a lot, probably, going by his stats. So, really good captain. The other two are better for me. Lukaku is the top one this week. So, here are some other options that you could be considering that are probably in a lot of teams, apart from maybe Bruno Fernandes anymore. Some of you are probably still holding on. I really feel like Jimenez is close to Antonio this week. I think Antonio has better underlying stats, and he probably has over the last few seasons. And even though Jimenez's numbers have gone up a little bit after that Southampton game, he's still a little bit behind Antonio. But Jimenez definitely has the better fixture. Like, again, Newcastle at home is probably top 3, top 4 fixture that you can have at the moment. And I do think Wolves will cause them problems. And like I don't know, all this rubbish about Jimenez just not looking back to his best, the headband and stuff. I think he looked perfectly fine in most of the games so far. He's having plenty of shots. It just hasn't really gone right until that Southampton game. And it was pretty poor defending, to be fair, right? You don't often get an assist from a keeper with good defending. But I don't know, there's something about this week, Newcastle at home, that feels really good. So if you wanted to go for a bit of a differential, and like Salah is an option, like I would never... I saw someone told me they were going to bench Salah this week, which is absolute madness. Never write him off, especially at home. We saw against Chelsea, he got the goal. Yes, it was a penalty, but again, that's one of the advantages that he has. We know he's going to play in this game, and he's been unreal so far this season. And Man City will be a tough test, but you shouldn't ever write him off. So he could be a good option. But I just always feel like if a team is playing someone like Man City or Chelsea, the odds of like a mega haul. Like, obviously, you just want to return. If you get like 8, 9, 10 points, you're probably quite happy. But in the back of your mind, you want that chance to kind of get 14, 15, 16, 17 points. I just don't see how Salah does that against Man City. It's possible. He's that good. But I just wouldn't bet on it. So I wouldn't write Salah off, but I'm kind of going to write him off by saying there's kind of 4 or 5 better options. I do think Jimenez is the punt to go for this week. If you've still got Fernandes and you're not looking to sell this week, I think there absolutely is a case to go for him. Just remember, I know things have changed because of Lukaku and Ronaldo, but at the start of the season, Fernandes was seen as essential, right? He scored those 3 goals. Everyone had to get him in. His underlying numbers, so that expected goals, that expected assists, that's slightly ahead of last year. So he's already tracking the same as he did last year, where he got 23 returns without penalties, and he also got a bunch of penalties as well. And we think that he probably will take the next one. We can't guarantee it, right? If Solskjaer really is deciding between him and Ronaldo before the game, it could be a Ronaldo game. So I think long term, unless we see Fernandes take a few penalties, we can't necessarily rely on it. But I think there is a chance he takes the next one to redeem himself from the miss. And if we're saying he's still on penalties, and his numbers are as good as last year, and he's ridiculously good last year as well, he could be a great option so far for this game week as well against Everton, right? He is trying to make runs beyond Ronaldo at times. Ronaldo does drop deep. I'm not even going to pretend that Ronaldo doesn't take a lot of shots, right? I get that. Everything tries to go through him. But Bruno Fernandes is a genuinely good option this week. If you've kept hold of him, maybe his one last attempt to get a good score out of him, could be this week. So I'm calling these punts, right? But I mean, realistically, Harry Kane, I'm not sure his stock has fallen so much that we're calling him a punt just yet. But these are probably players that are going to be least captain, right, compared to all the other options we've talked about. Obviously, Kane is against Villa. A lot of people now think Villa's a really good defence. And look, I think I'm always a little bit slow to update my opinion, right? It's just the way I play. I don't want to suddenly say that Villa are really tough, even if Man United did have a tough time last week and Ronaldo obviously blanked. But I don't think we should go as far as to say that we should be worried about them either. So if you've got Harry Kane, and we're talking punts, we're talking going against the crowd here, I don't really see someone with penalties, just scored a hat-trick in midweek. Are Spurs that bad? I mean, they have played pretty bad, so this really is a punt. But I would just hope that Nuno's got some plan to kind of turn it around. And Harry Kane is going to be front and centre as always, with penalties to rely on. Not a bad punt. Neither is Chris Wood against Norwich. I know Burnley attackers are never really sought after. Everyone always laughs about Chris Wood, but he always gets like kind of 10 to 14 goals a season. And why not kind of bet on him in in the best game you can have right now? Norwich at home is probably the best game you can have. Why not? If you've got Chris Wood, there you go. Another punt. I think his numbers are always pretty solid. I mean, 0.36 expected goal. He can probably get a bit higher by the end of the season, I would say. And what better time to do it than against Norwich? And then Rafinha's pass fit. Bamford being out didn't stop him from getting a goal last week. I think Watford at home, again, is one of the kind of top 3-4 fixtures you can get. His numbers are incredible. Like 0.59 expected goal involvement for someone that's 6.5 million is ridiculously good value. I know I've been banging on about that all season. And he is a really good bet for captaincy. I think Leeds are going to create a lot of chances. I think so far people have been quite down on Leeds, because I think for a team that's come up from the Championship and not made a huge amount of like world-class signings or anything like that, there's a lot of expectations for Leeds to kind of put 3 or 4 goals away, or you know, score 3 or 4 goals every single week. We probably need to lower our expectations a bit, but they were one of the best attacks last year. They are playing one of the best fixtures. This has got points written all over it. Now, the thing with Rafinha is he can be frustrating, because you watch him and he gets a good score and you should definitely be happy about it for 6.5, but you always think he can do more, and the numbers back it up. So this could be one of the weeks where he finally gets into double digits, like a 13, 14, 15 point haul. I like him as an outside bet. Again, I'm not going to go for any of these, right? I'm always open and honest about that. I always go for kind of the safer, best picks. So Ronaldo, Lukaku, Antonio would definitely be top of my list, right? I've got Ronaldo. If I wildcard, I'll go for Lukaku. Simple as that. But I do like Jimenez, and I do really like Rafinha this week as well. Kane, Wood, Salah, etc. and Fernandes are good too. But I think Rafinha and Jimenez are really ones where, in my team at least, I would look at. So let me know if you're going in for a punt below, or are you just going to play it safe? So let me know who you're going for in the comments below. Give the video a like if you've enjoyed it, and hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. The video is out a little bit later this Friday because, to be honest, I've had an electrician in doing work, and so I've only just been able to get this video recorded. I am going to do another video tonight. I'm going to do another one of those final thoughts videos. Obviously, it won't be my complete final thoughts because the deadline tomorrow. But I've had a lot of thinking about the wildcard, and obviously I know people are obsessed with me clicking the button, right? You don't need to tell me you want me to wildcard. I've been told like a million times. But I think the advantages of holding it are getting less and less as the injuries kind of pile up, which, you know, some people are going to say was obvious. But yeah, the more I think about it, the more the Game Week 8 team now and Game Week 7 might not be that bad, depending on what you're going to go for. I think the fact that I'm probably going to keep Jimenez kind of plays a big role in that. So I'm going to talk about that later. I haven't hit the button, but I'll talk about what may or may not kind of push me over the edge. Otherwise, I'm pretty much going to do it in Game Week 8. I don't think I can wait any longer than that. So either 10:59 on Saturday or 11:01 or 11:30 when the game updates is probably when I'll hit the wildcard button. But I'll talk about that a bit more later. Thank you for watching the Captaincy video. Give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you later on.